video is going to be about using the double needle top stitch. This is the needle that you'll want to be using. It's the Stretch Twin. It's the blue one. We'll use the stretch needle because that's what because we're making our t-shirt. Okay. So when you come into the room, the universal needle will be in the machine. Take it out and put it into the scrap fabric that you've written your name on. Divide your fabric in two now because you're going to have two going in here. So the universal goes with the U, the ballpoint goes with the B. You'll have them both in your scrap fabric and you'll come back to those later. I've already put the blue Stretch Twin in the machine and I just want to talk you through how to do that, how to thread your machine for it. We need two threads in the top now. So I've got a cone back here that we normally use because we have so many of the cones, and that's just going to go in the can like normal. But then up here, if you can see, if I take the disc off, I've put an extra bobbin up there. I've wound a bobbin with the same color thread, and that goes on with the disc, with the prongs of the disc facing out away from the bobbin so it doesn't get tangled. Now if you use regular size cones or spools of thread like you would do in most home sewing, you'll put your regular spool on here, and then the machine comes with this extra stick, and that actually goes in this little square here, and so you can do it all just with two spools of thread. But since we use the cones, we'll be doing one cone in back and then one extra bobbin on top. Your regular bobbin just goes in normally. Okay. Okay. So we take your two threads together. So the cone one comes up there, the one from the bobbin comes here. We now have them two together and we treat them just normally as if it's one thread. So we thread the two together just exactly the same as normal, as if it's one thread, until we get here just above the needle, just above the blue plastic bit on the needle. That's when we divide the thread. We tuck each thread in behind one of the little guides. There's actually two guides here at the top of the needle, and then thread the two needles separately. Okay? So it's not difficult. You treat it all like one thread and then divide at this point and thread your two needles separately. And you can pick up your bobbin thread just normally. Okay. Alrighty. So that's the setup. Now the two threads are on top, so you have to top stitch like normal with the top, the good side of your t-shirt facing up. So this I've just sort of simulated. This is where you've got your raglan sleeve t-shirt. The blue or the gray would be the sleeve, the white is the body, and we've already done our 4 seams to set in the raglan sleeve, right? We've sewn at the 15 line, serged, and pressed them toward the body. Most of you are doing white bodies, so it goes that way toward the body, and nice and flat press. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is just run the edge of my presser foot. I always like to have the ridge on the right, so the seam allowance is going off to the left, and I want to run the edge of my presser foot right along that ridge of the white. Okay. All right. So that's why we do still keep the 15 line sewing for, even though it's a stretch knit, you don't necessarily need a big seam allowance on a knit, but because we want to have a nice top stitch, it makes it easier. So as always, I hold the threads at the back for the first few stitches, and there we go. Seems like that is tangling a little bit. Just be careful. If it doesn't feel like it's flowing through smoothly, just check that you're not getting a tangle on the top. Okay. Make sure you're keeping that nice and open. Okay. Okay, so what you end up with, I'll just wait for that to focus up close because I want you to see how nice that is. You've got not only two lines that are not only perfectly parallel, but the stitches all line up together. And so it looks really, really professional and super easy to do. You can also do this for a hem, and we'll do that at the end of the t-shirt. We'll do it on the hem as well.